Hello and welcome to Wonder WhyZ everyone. My name is Soham and thank you so much for joining in. In this video, we are going to talk about Kaiju number 8, chapter 38. It's been a while since I've done a review or rather a live stream reaction like this for Kaiju number 8. So I'm pretty excited about this. Basically, and let's just jump into it. But before that, thank you so much to each and every one of you for joining in. Thank you Tanushri, welcome Goodflix, welcome Dark Ripper, and let's just jump into it because this chapter is pretty good. It's a little bit getting into the realm of tropes in a way. Like there are certain tropes which are being associated here at this moment. But to be honest with you, I'm fine with it. And I'm going over both the Viz version as well as the Manga Plus version. You know that I'm not really a huge fan of the Manga Plus version because of the usage or because of not using the word Kaiju here. They rather use Monster number 8. But because it's easier to read from the Manga Plus version because it is a scrollable version for the purpose of this stream, I'm going to be using the Manga Plus version. With that being said, let's just jump into it. So the chapter begins after the confrontation that happened between Kafka and what was the name of his father, director. And this is really great because Kafka is like, I'm not monster number 8, or rather I'm not Kaiju number 8, I am Kafka Hibino, and he falls to the ground. This is absolutely epic, and Kikoro is looking on and she's absolutely shocked, and even the director is in kind of a Tiffany here, and he was actually not expecting something like this, to be honest. And the director says, put your weapon away, and in the background we can see this absolutely hilariously huge weapon of a character called Okonogi, and he's having this massive knife. Like this is a huge knife, absolutely, and he's just pointing it above the head of Kafka, and there are other soldiers as well, other masked soldiers as well, who are pointing their guns at Kafka. And because of the words of the director, they all pull back, and they're like, since you weren't sending out any request for backup, we thought that you were basically going to die, or you were planning to die here. And later we find out that this particular character who was pulling out this huge knife, he's none other than the Defense Force 1st Unit Commander called Gen Okonogi. He has a pretty cool design, and you know what? After seeing his eyes, like crisscross or rather cross-like eyes, this is really reminding me about Fire Force. Like if you have read the story of Fire Force, then you know what I'm talking about. Especially a particular character, no spoilers by the way, but this is definitely looking like a Fire Force character for sure. But anyway, the director is absolutely taken aback by all of these things. He's saying that don't be foolish, but indeed Kafka Hibino, or rather Kaiju number 8, did exceed his expectations. He was not expecting this entire ordeal to go in this particular manner. So yeah, this was indeed really great. And hold on, what just happened? Oh, my sound was too high apparently, I guess. Anyway, let's move forward and see here. Medical unit, come and collect Kaiju number 8 immediately. There's a chance that the core is kind of damaged. So yeah, that is indeed the case. And Mas CJ, thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. That really means a lot. Guys, please do give this video a thumbs up if you like it, and share it with your friends as well. Sod says, Naruto before Guna. Okay, I'm coming to the Naruto bits later on. Let's just finish Kaiju number 8 first. There's a chance that the core is damaged, so that's pretty nice. It shows kind of the fact that the director is at least somewhat concerned about Kafka Hibino at this moment, because he has accepted him to some extent. I've not really read this chapter up until now. This is my blind reaction in a way, you could say, or rather my first reaction in a way, so I don't know what will happen in the later half of this chapter. But so far, especially after looking at his expressions, I can say that he is somewhat content with him being a human. At least he's acknowledging him as a human and not just a kaiju. I might be wrong. Let's see what happens later on. What are you planning to do? What are you planning on doing with it? So yeah, that's interesting. And after this ordeal is over, we get a cut back to the city, and they are having a meeting. Of course, the board of directors and the higher ups are having a meeting, and the director is like, As of now, number 8 will be used as a part of a military power without turning into a weapon. Good job, Kafka. Good job indeed, because he has somewhat proved his mettle at this moment, and yeah, this is good. But the question is, will the other people or other higher ups agree to this particular notion? Let's see. No, apparently no. The question is no, because each and every one of them unanimously say that I oppose. We cannot use a living monster, and yeah, that's something for sure. According to them, this is too dangerous, and the director is obviously cutting back to the same words. I'm not Kaiju number 8. I am Kafka Hipino. And to this, he says that I have come to the conclusion that it is controllable. In actuality, it spent a few months scanning out the missions with the third unit. So yeah, we are getting the what should I say? Conclusion in a way to the third unit's training regime, and I wonder if Mina will be involved here anymore. I mean, of course she will be involved, but Kafka being under her will play into anything or not. That is something which I want to know. Yeah, Dark Ripper, indeed, the director seems at least a little bit concerned about Kafka so far. Sun Sky, welcome to the stream. Thank you so much for joining in. And the data goes on to say that there's also no telling the level of power it will generate after weaponizing it. Furthermore, there's a possibility that the weapon is sealed away due to no one having the compatibility, just like the case with Kaiju number 6. So again, name drop, or rather some historical evidence here, that Kaiju number 6, there was a Kaiju number 6 which was put down in a similar fashion. But up until now, the director, the company, has not got a suitable candidate to inherit the powers of Kaiju number 6. I wonder who this character is going to be, honestly. If you're gonna ask me, the easiest bet is that since Kikoru is the daughter of the director, there's a high chance that she's the one who is eventually going to inherit the powers of Kaiju number 6. But at the same time, she recently got her power up in the form of the axe. So my other guess at this moment would definitely be none other than Reno. Like, he is one of the earliest characters, who were introduced into the story. So I personally believe that more than Kikoru, there's a chance that Reno is actually going to inherit this, because that will kind of play into the power scaling as well. We don't really have a you could say Vegeta-like situation here, or we don't really have a Deuteragonist kind of situation here. Reno is not the Lancer here for sure, but he needs some sort of a power up at this moment. So I feel like the Kaiju number 6 might eventually go on to him. There's a high chance for sure. But it says that, however, there aren't any precedents. This other guy with the eye patch is saying this, and to this the director is obviously enraged, and he says that precedent, something like that, is trivial compared to the protection of this country. So for those of you who don't know what is precedent, if I'm not wrong, it kind of is a a manner of doing things based upon history. So basically the other guy is saying here that in the past they have seen something like this happening, so there is no chance of Kafka actually collaborating with them. So to this, the writer is saying that precedent doesn't matter in comparison to the protection of this country, which is absolutely correct. So yeah, this is indeed the case. And I'm going to talk about one particular thing which I kind of noticed in this chapter so far. Let me first finish this video, then we can talk about it. Yeah. So I feel okay. I'll talk about that later on. First of all, let's enter this part. Yeah, so everyone is saying that it's not as if you have all forgotten the clustered type of catastrophe that occurred 10 years ago with Kaiju number 6 at its center. So basically they suffered a lot of casualties here. Hundreds and hundreds of members died at this particular moment. They lost 200 members and 3 commanders, and even, yeah, this is huge, his wife was also lost in this particular incident. That is, Kikoru's mother was lost in this particular incident. And we also have a kind of a name drop here, because currently in Japan there are less than 30 troop members who are actually capable of fighting or who are actually at the level to fight these mega monsters, and even less than 10 if they're fighting single-handedly. And the number even goes down when they are compared to these fighting number of fighting monsters. So overall, the situation is definitely not good for them. It says that in a cluster, in the case of a cluster type monster outbreak that exceeds or far exceeds their expectations, this country would easily fall into ruins, and therefore it's the discretion of the director that they are going to utilize the powers of Kafka or Kaiju number 8 in this particular scenario. The phenomenal power, it will become their ray of hope. So yeah, but even then the panel is not you know it's not really agreeing to these things. They're saying that even so they are not going to agree by it because they are against it. So yeah, that's interesting. And now these panels looks absolutely beautiful. It's kind of reminding me of old school Dragon Ball as well. But yeah, Kafka is getting treatment in these capsule like pods, which really remind me of the Saiyan pods as well. But anyway, he's kind of in a trance here, and he's thinking back to the events of his past. He's having some dreams or like past memory recollections. He's thinking or he's seeing how Mina is actually crying. So please we will talk about Naruto later on, not right now in this particular stream. This stream is about Kaiju number 8. Once I'm doing another Naruto stream, we'll talk about Naruto there, or you can join my Discord. We can easily talk about these things over there. But yeah, this particular pod definitely reminds me of the Saiyan pod, especially the one where Vegeta was recovering. So it's definitely something like that. And he's having a trance kind of a situation, and he's remembering the time when Mina was crying, and it was actually the funeral of one of their friends, Mikio. And to this, Kafka is saying that I thought to myself that I could never forgive the monster that made Mina cry this much. But even then, and he even says that if at all, he thought back then that if at all his body and mind were to become that of a monster or a kaiju, he wanted to die as a human. And after this, he finally wakes up. This is beautiful, honestly. He's like, am I alive? What the hell is going on? Where am I? And to his just beside him, he sees that, are you awake? The director is beside him, and he immediately jumps up. He's like, Chief Shinomiya. And the director is like, no need to be on your guard, I'm not planning to hurt you anything. But he's taken aback by the sentiment or by the statement of Kafka here, because Kafka says that, oh thank goodness, if something happened to you, Chief, I would have felt too ashamed to face even Kikoru. This is obviously Shinomiya is taken aback by this, because he was not expecting to have an interaction like this. He was not expecting Kafka to immediately after waking up thinking about him and thinking about Shinomiya. He was maybe thinking about, why am I strapped here? Why have you imprisoned me? He was thinking that maybe Kafka was going to say something like that. But no, this is a totally different situation. Kafka is more concerned about him and Kikoru for that matter. And Kafka is like, since I was allowed to live, does this mean that I was deemed a human or as a troop member? And to this, Shinomiya says that, if what's in your chest of yours was a fragile human heart, you would have most likely died back there. And therefore, I will state my conclusion: you are indeed a monster. You are indeed a kaiju. However, I'll put the matter of you that if you're an enemy or not on hold at this particular moment. Basically, he's trying to trust Kafka as a human at this moment, even though he knows that he's no longer human. He's basically a kaiju. And he says that, Kafka Hibino. And Kafka is taken aback by that, because he called him by his name finally. And these reactions are definitely pretty good. He's like, currently most against the idea of keeping you alive, but to stay alive, you have to show your usefulness. It's kind of once again like a Eren Yeager like situation where Irvin and Levi trusted upon Eren when the entire Shiganshima district kind of turned their back upon Eren. So yeah, this is indeed a situation somewhat similar to that. It's not exactly the same thing, but it's kind of falling into those kinds of tropes. But at the same time, the execution so far is pretty good. So like I've said in the past, it doesn't matter if it's a trope, because if it is applied properly, if it is implemented properly, even a trope can be pretty good. So that's something which I feel is the case. And he says like, only just barely kept alive as a weapon, but even then I would still want to think myself as a member of the defense force, as a defense corporation, and I'll definitely make myself acknowledged as a troop member as well. And therefore we have a stare down between these two characters, the director as well as Kafka. So that is pretty good. And the chapter basically ends with Kunitachi City. I don't know if we have seen this city in the past, I can't really remember it properly, but here in the 23rd floor residential building, the kaiju number 10 molds its body, and he's like, well, there's my body, it's ready now. It's time to retrieve the powers of the monsters that have fallen into the human hands. Now, I will have to come back to this particular panel because I can't really remember if we have seen who or where this Kunitachi city actually is and who actually lives in this 23rd residential floor building. Is this the home of the person who was taken over by this kaiju? I can't really remember, but it seems like the plot is thickening, of course. The plot is definitely thickening, and that is basically Kaiju number 8, chapter 38. A really good chapter, honestly, in my opinion. But I have one particular theory kind of here, which I want to share with you all. I feel like and this especially came up after I saw Shinomiya, the father of Kikoru. Honestly, I didn't really know at the beginning that this character was actually the father of Kikoru. After seeing at his character design, I thought that he was maybe like a grandfather because he looked too old for his age. He definitely didn't look like a father character. He definitely looked like a grandfather character. So at this moment, I just want to have or put out this theory that is it possible that the kaijus are actually speeding up or making the body age faster? It's a possibility here. Even Kafka looks a little bit more toned down and adult at this moment, so there's a possibility that the kaiju core is kind of exceeding more pressure on the human body, which is making it age up faster. It's a possibility. I don't know if it's actually going to be the case or not, but it's definitely a possibility in my opinion. And it's going to be interesting to see where the story eventually leads up to, because things are looking very, very exciting. So this is Kaiju number 8, chapter 38. What do you guys think about all of these things? Please do let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you want to ask me anything in the chat, do let me know. Otherwise, I'm just gonna end this stream here. This is most probably a possibility. And yeah, Mrityunjay is also raising a good point. It's like the curse of Ymir in a way, because it genuinely, like, you look at the character design of Shinomiya and you tell me that he looks like a father. I won't believe you. It definitely, his character looks like a grandfather or grand mentor kind of a figure who is much more elder than all of these other people. And even if we look at the other members of the defense organization, none of them look this old. It's only Shinomiya who is looking this old and this kind of like build up in a way. So I feel like this has something to do with the kaiju powers, directly or indirectly. Like, Kafka has directly consumed the kaiju, so that's a different case for him. But for the other characters who have inherited or taken in these powers as a weapon of the kaiju, even for them, I feel like this is a possibility. And it would be kind of seen more when we eventually get to see the other characters who have taken in the powers of the kaiju. So that might be the case so far. But for now, my theory is that this is indeed the work of the kaiju core, which is aging up the natural process of like a human body in a way. So yeah, that is definitely the case. So I guess this is it for today, guys. If you want to ask me any questions, please do let me know in the comment section below, or please do ask me in the chat. In the meantime, do like this video and share it with your friends as well. That would be really awesome. If you want to give any super chats or channel memberships, that is also really welcome. Otherwise, we're gonna end this stream. This is a quick stream which I just wanted to talk, which I just wanted to share with you guys. We're going to have some more these kind of read through or like read along streams, live reaction streams. I feel like I will be able to do another stream today for My Hero Academia as well. It's been a really long time since I've talked about My Hero Academia as well, And yes, indeed, Mrityunjay, I'm going to make a live stream like this for MHA chapter 318 as well. So be sure to join in then as well. So that's it. I guess this is it for today then. Maybe the Kaiju core is taking the life force, possible, or rather it's like exerting more force upon that life force in a way. That is definitely possible. I mean, I'm just expecting some sort of an explanation like that for sure here. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for joining in. See you all on the next stream then. Goodbye. Some sort of an explanation like that for sure here. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for joining in. See you all on the next stream then. Goodbye. Some sort of an explanation like that for sure here.